रात है मैं नौशों की ईद बनाने घिर आई घन घोर घटाए झूम उठी मखमूर हवाएं झुक गया बरे रहमत बारी आबे हयाते नौ बरसाने.
In the first 3 years of secret and quiet preaching, he managed to build up a small group of fervent believers. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was aware that his claim would threaten the old-fashioned Quraysh, and this was one reason he kept a low profile. In the beginning of the 4th year of his ministry, he started receiving revelations that commanded him to declare himself publicly. O Prophet, the command that has been given to thee, announce it to people clearly and openly. Then he received the revelation, and warn thy nearest kinsman. Hazrat Muhammad was about to attempt the impossible. He wanted every man and woman of Mecca to look for signs of God's goodness and magnificence, evident wherever they looked in the natural world. He wanted them to know that God had created, guided, and preserved the whole order of the universe for their benefit. He stood on Mount Safa and with a loud and pronounced voice called each tribe of the Quraysh by name. When they all gathered, the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, asked them, O Quraysh, if I said a huge army is on the other side ready to attack you, will you believe me? As they knew him to be the most honest and truthful from among them, they immediately said they would. But when he gave the divine message, they all laughed and ridiculed him. Amongst them was Abu Lahab, one of the chiefs of the tribes and an uncle of the Prophet. This did not discourage him. A few days later, he asked Ali to invite about 40 leading men from the tribe of Hashim for a meal. They were relatives of the Holy Prophet and descendants of Abdul Muttalib. After the meal, when he tried to convey the message, Abu Lahab rudely interrupted and eventually broke up the gathering. The Holy Prophet asked Ali to arrange another meal. On this occasion, when he conveyed the message, there was an awkward silence. His uncles, Abu Talib, Hamza and Abbas, all remained quiet. Ali, who was only 11 years old, could not bear this silence and spoke out. I, though the youngest and weak, O Prophet of God, I will be your helper. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, placed his hand on his shoulder and addressed the guests. If you follow him, you will prosper. This insulted the Quraysh. As they got up to leave, Abu Lahab turned to Abu Talib and mocked. Now Muhammad is asking us to follow your son. Then they left without taking heed. The Quraysh were being asked to abandon the religion of their forefathers, a worship of idols. They were not yet ready to accept this new way of life. However, there were many to be found amongst the slaves, the young men and the tormented, who began to feel alive again. These people had suffered unbelievable oppression. They began to gather around the Holy Prophet for guidance. One of the most famous was Hazrat Bilal, a man owned by Umayya bin Khalf. He would put hot stones on his chest, urging him to deny the unity of God. But Bilal remained steadfast. After one such ordeal, Bilal was left to the point of death. Hazrat Abu Bakr could not bear to see his companion in such pain. The Holy Prophet instructed him to approach Umayya and offered to buy his freedom. Bilal later became the first muezzin calling people to prayer.
की सैराब बुलंदी बस्ती जिंदा हो गई बस्ती बस्ती बादा कशों पर छा गई मस्ती एक एक ज़र्फ़ भरा भर खाने एक बरसात करम की पैहम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम.
As more people assembled to listen to the Prophet, Hazrat Muhammad felt the need of a place where the Muslims could gather together for worship and guidance. For this purpose, he chose the house of Arqam, situated on the slopes of Mount Safa. Fierce opposition towards the Prophet and his followers grew, but this did not deter the Muslims. They intensified their efforts to spread the message, and the honorable amongst the Meccans swiftly came into the fold of Islam. This was to cause unease amongst the elders, because their hierarchical system was being shattered. The Meccan chiefs, recognizing that they could not simply beat the Muslims to submission, approached the Prophet's uncle Abu Talib. They told him to dissuade his nephew from preaching his message. In return, they offered to make the Holy Prophet their chief. They offered him wealth and the hand of any woman of his liking. Abu Talib relayed this message to the Holy Prophet, who replied, "I say that even if they were to place the sun on my right hand and the moon on my left, I would not desist from preaching the truth. I must go on doing so until I die. You can choose your own pleasure." Abu Talib replied, "My nephew, go your way. Do your duty. Let my people give me up. I am with you." And the Holy Prophet did exactly that. He continued to spread his message and to fulfill his duty to God. However, the oppression was to continue.
Hazrat Sayyidi